Now, the story of the missing Somalia girl brings to mind the rapidly increasing incident of violence against women and young girls here in Nigeria. Many a time, such inhuman treatment, sometimes mindless cutting short of precious lives, have been the plight of domestic servants who are usually poorly paid for their services while working under the harshest of conditions. Against the backdrop of this, there have been a gradual uptake in the consciousness amongst certain individuals and organizations who in turn have been taking conscious steps not only to redress the apparent injustice but also to regularize the process involved in hiring of domestic staff. One of such persons is Elizabeth AJETUNMOBI, a human rights consultant and educator and a family life enthusiast who provides support to families. She is the president of the Associations of Household Employee Managers. She now joins us for a brief chat. I want to say welcome and thank you for being on Newsday. Now let's start it off with questions.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, it's good to have you on board today. Now, most ideas, they say, are formed from the desire to meet a need. What need were you trying to meet when you conceived the idea of starting your own domestic staffing agency and training school for the semi-skilled and domestic staff?
Okay, so thank you very much. I had the idea. Okay, my voice is all right. So there was a huge gap in the domestic staffing industry, and then I thought that it was something that we cannot keep complaining about. You know, if you speak to most women that have kids, you find out that most people have the same stories. Oh, my domestic staff is not capable. She's not as effective as I would like her to be, and all of that. And that was why we started the Association of Household Employee Managers, AHEM. AHEM is the association, is the umbrella body for all domestic staffing agencies. So businesses in Nigeria's domestic staffing industry are under AHEM because we want to standardize the industry, right? And one of the major issues that we want to that we're fighting against is underage labor. Underage labor, we want employers to be able to give domestic staff a defined working time. You know, so even though your domestic staff lives in your house, they should have a resumption time and a closing time. And AHEM is not just existing for domestic staff. So like we say, we are the middleman between the employers and the employees. We want to make sure that both parties are doing what they're supposed to do and they're partnering to get that common, you know, to achieve that common goal. All right?
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense. It's a very useful situation for, just like you said, parents that have children. Women are usually the ones that are stuck with the management of this. But as the president of the Association of Household Employee Managers, AHEM, serving as the umbrella body for all household employees and and domestic staff, do you think that your association can get Nigeria's domestic staffing industry to actually be regulated and standardized so that a lot of the issues that the employers face can be avoided and the issues that the employees face, the domestic staff themselves?
Okay, absolutely. I think we can, yes. We're here to be able to resolve these challenges. And we understand that we have, yes, employers have challenges, domestic staff have challenges, even domestic staff agencies have challenges, and we address these issues one after the other. And one way in which we do this is we have a community amongst all domestic staff agencies, and we discuss these issues, and we have started preferring solutions to them. And one thing we have been able to do is to host webinars, conferences, and we have an upcoming conference this week, Friday and Saturday, and we will be addressing a lot of these issues. On Friday, we will be addressing issues that has to do with businesses, how businesses can improve on their practices, professionalism. And we have Mrs. Tara Feladrotoye coming also to teach us how to have a sustainable business. On Saturday, Saturday is going to be an award ceremony for domestic staff. You know that they do a fantastic job, and they help a lot of people to succeed in their careers, because if you do not have that support system in the home, I wonder how easy it will be to work and to be able to build a business. So we're going to be celebrating domestic staff, and it's not just AHEM in Nigeria doing it. Other domestic staffing agencies around the world are celebrating domestic staff, because we all realize how important and vital that role they play is. And that's why we're doing this. And so I believe that we're going to be able to get to that point that, if you want to hire a domestic staff, you will not have headaches. And a domestic staff will know that, okay, I can build a career in this industry.
Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, you can continue, please.
Okay, so one of the things that we are against is child labor. And in Nigeria, child labor comes, most times people don't come up to say, okay, I want to hire an underage child. It comes in the form of child fostering. So you have people in the rural areas, they call their family members and say, you know what, please, can you help me take my child to the city? Please send this child to school on my behalf. I cannot afford to send my child, give my child an education. Please help me send my child to school. And that is one of the major ways in which child labor begins. So you have this child that has gone to the city, is living with a family member, and then this child begins to work, because most of the people that take in these children would say, oh, I'm sending you to school. You should be able to work for me in return. And you have children working in homes, slaving away. And these are some of the issues that we need to begin to address. And we need the government to support us so that there will be proper labor laws, so that you know that it's clear you cannot hire an underage staff. And from our experience, one of the things we realized that even 18 years, when you have an 18-year-old domestic staff, it's very difficult for them to be able to cope because of the demands of being a domestic staff. A domestic staff is in charge of the house, whether it be the children, be it the home, be it everything. All right. So it's not an easy task in any way. And these are the reasons why we tell employers and we encourage all agencies to speak to their clients such that every domestic staff has a resumption time and a closing time. They have days when they are off work, because many times you find out that in other parts of the world, it's not like that. A domestic staff, a typical Nigerian domestic staff, wakes up in the morning very early and they are the last to go to bed. And they do that 7 days a week, almost 365 days in a year. That is a lot. And, we hear so many stories of, oh, my staff ran away this morning. My staff said, she called me. She says somebody died in her village. The reason why they come up with all of these stories most times is because they feel like that's the only way they can leave people's homes. So instead of us waiting for them to tell us these stories, why don't we begin to put structures in place? Let your staff go on leave, let them take time off work. And so these are some of the practices that we're introducing to be able to mitigate and, resolve all these issues of somebody misbehaving somewhere. And one of the things AHEM is also very particular about, all the agencies that work with us, they understand that verification, we need to be able to verify the staff that come into these businesses before we deploy them to people's homes.
And I want to say many thanks to you, Mrs. Elizabeth AJETUNMOBI, for fighting a good cause, because domestic staff and the issues that arises from the interactions between employer and employee is something that cannot be discussed in one breath. Thank you for doing that for us. And we actually hope to have you more here on Newsday.